So my first tip for you is E.C.P. What does that stand for? Excitement, curiosity, and passion. In a nutshell, if you need to give a presentation, if you're going to be talking with somebody, find a way to bring in things that excite you, things that you are curious about, things that you are passionate about. Because when you do this, your energy is going to show. You probably know a lot more about these particular subjects, and your expertise is going to shine through. Now, if you're at a party with friends, that seems pretty easy. Just bring up things you have in common, things that you guys have done together. Maybe it's traveling, maybe you like to spend time outdoors, maybe it's gaming. But how do you do that actually at work? Especially when you got to give a presentation, you've got to talk about something that's incredibly boring, like about, okay, what are we going to do for this holiday season to be able to get more sales? Well, the reality is if you're the one putting the presentation together, if you're going to be leading the Zoom call, you have a lot more power than you think to actually take the conversation and bring in some of your passions, like gaming. I understand you sell furniture or maybe office equipment, not super exciting, but your passion is gaming. And you've seen how gaming companies have been using marketing because they've been using it on you to actually create more purchases. And it's like, hey, can we bring in some of these ideas? So you create analogies. You show that, hey, this company did this. Is there a way for us to do something similar so that we can get our sales up? And let's talk about curiosity, because this one's really important whenever you're speaking one-on-one or in a small group. Because when you're curious, you're listening, and that enables you to ask better questions, to delve in. All of a sudden, the other people that are speaking realize that they've got a captive audience, somebody that wants to hear more about something that they love to talk about. And when people get to talk more, they like you more. All of a sudden, there's more engagement, everyone's smiling, and the conversation, the speaking is going much smoother. And then, of course, we've got passion. Passion is the energy. Passion is the love. Passion is the emotion that people feel. They don't necessarily even know what you're talking about, but they can see, they can feel. All of a sudden, you're resonating with the excitement of the subject that you're covering. And this is contagious. And the only danger here is that you could possibly go on too long talking about something that, they may not be catching everything. So a few years back, I was at the Upreneur Summit in London giving a speech at the Queen Elizabeth Center. There were hundreds of people in the audience. I had been invited by my friend Chris, and I have to admit, I was incredibly nervous getting on this stage. Now, the exercise I went through that calmed me down is I thought through the worst case scenarios. To me, worst case scenario was walking out there, tripping, knocking myself out, and Chris having to call an ambulance and me wasting everybody's time, me not, just simply, that would have been worst case scenario. So when I was going out, I made sure, hey, my shoes are tied. I have good shoes on with traction. I just eliminated that from happening. I also thought, I could lose my train of thought. Slides could not work. That's happened to many people. So I had the notes written. I had 13 points. I had them written down with a little bit of explanation in the back of my pocket on a note card. Hey, my throat would get dry and I expect them. I was told there's going to be water. I saw water for other speakers, but what if there's none for me? I brought my own water bottle. I basically thought through, I was prepared. A good Boy Scout, be prepared. It's exactly what I did. I thought through various scenarios and I made sure that I felt I did everything I could, thought through all the worst things that could happen and was prepared for them. Now, gents, if you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor and smash the like button. This lets the YouTube algorithm know that, hey, this video is good. And honestly, guys, I want to know if you enjoy videos like this that talk about things beyond style. I really enjoy making these, and I want to know if you like them. The next tip to speak confidently as an adult is to have a point when you open your mouth. And that point doesn't need to be earth-shattering, doesn't need to be momentous. It can be something as simple as acknowledging another person by saying hello, good morning, hi. That was your point. What you want to avoid, especially if you're nervous, if you don't feel like you're a great speaker, is aimless conversation. Now, small talk and that type of thing right there definitely can have a purpose. And for someone that is an advanced speaker or someone that's practicing small talk, it's a great thing. It can build up, a little bit of trust. It can break the ice. It can, kind of fill a little bit of space, and just simply you can learn a little bit about a person without going in too deep. But for a lot of people, it is something that if you're feeling nervous, think about, well, what do I want to get out of this conversation? Where do I want to lead it? Especially if it's at work or if it's with somebody that maybe you're talking to the first time. Do you want to learn a little bit more about them? Okay, that is the point. You're not looking to hammer them with questions, but you are looking to, hey, I've got a goal. I've got a direction where I'm going with this. Now, building off that last tip, having a point, let's talk about strategic silence. Silence in conversation is perhaps what scares most amateur speakers, people that are nervous around other people the most, is the awkward silence. Where, you just feel like you want to make yourself small, disappear because you don't know what to say, because it just feels weird. But here's the thing. flip it. Start to understand the power of silence, especially when you say something and you're trying to make a point. Maybe you want to all of a sudden just let it sink in what you said. You want to give the other person the ability to go into the conversation or even play with it. Acknowledge the awkwardness. You kind of make a joke about it like, wow, we don't have anything to talk about, do we? So by acknowledging the awkwardness, by acknowledging the silence, all of a sudden, again, you're breaking the ice. And the point, getting back to the earlier one, is simply to engage, to point out that I'm human. You're not to reveal a weakness like that. You can't feel everything, that you maybe aren't the loudest, most talkative person. This isn't a bad thing. It may be that all of a sudden you find out the person you're speaking with has a lot more in common with you. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty awkward at these type of conversations as well. All of a sudden you've smiled, you've shared that, and the conversation can keep going naturally. And gents, if I missed anything, if there's a point that I should have added to today's video, let me know in the comments below and I will send you an RMRS challenge coin. Next up, gents, let's talk about filler phrases. Let's talk about crutch words, and let's talk about slowing things down and why it's so important. So filler phrases, crutch words, these are words, phrases that we fault to whenever we can't keep up. Our mind cannot keep up with our mouth. We are speaking too quickly and we don't know what to say. And so we throw in a like, we throw in an we throw in that filler phrase. Well, I've been thinking about it. It doesn't add to anything that you've been saying. Slow things down. In fact, there was a great TED Talk. They talk 190 words a minute is about optimum whenever you're speaking, giving a presentation, talking with others. You can talk a little bit faster when you're engaging with people, 1, 2-on-1, 3 small groups like that. Larger groups, though, you want to slow it down. It has a huge impact, not only in your ability to sound more authoritative, but by slowing things down, you can naturally eliminate all the filler words, all those crutch words that you were defaulting to when you were trying to spout things out too quickly. And I know with that last point, it's a bit hypocritical because here on YouTube, I speak very quickly in my videos. Part of that is the way the algorithm works. And what we've noticed is that people want information quicker. But again, if you're engaging with somebody one-on-one, small groups, then you definitely want to slow things down. Now, you've probably noticed my hand movements throughout this video, and that's important. What do they say? There was a joke about how do you get an Italian to shut up? You tie up his hands and they can't speak. But there's a lot to be said about that. To me, your hands and your gestures, this is a big part of our communication, especially when there are subtle references in what you're saying. Whenever you want somebody, if you've got a little bit of dry humor, if you're dropping a joke, you say one thing, no, but you're nodding your head. It's almost, we see one thing and we hear another in our mind. And this is something that your hands allow you, if you're going to, hey, talk about something big, you illustrate big. It emphasizes the point. Now, hand gestures over the top can be very nervous movements, and you want to avoid that. Again, it's also understanding your audience. If you're over in, let's say, Spain, Mexico, hand gestures are going to be much more common than if you're in a more reserved society, perhaps over in Japan, over in China. You may not see such animated conversation. You have to, again, understand the culture. Again, depends on the situation, but hand gestures can be very, very powerful to help you get the point across. Now, I know some of you guys are watching this video thinking, okay, Antonio, these tips are great, but can you make it even easier? Can you develop a fragrance that would enable me to have more courage, put me in the zone? Basically, I could condition myself to be able to finally go up and speak to that woman, have the confidence to be able to, maybe deal with rejection, but more importantly, know that I'll never regret not having asked her out. Well, guess what, guys? I have developed that fragrance set over at Mission Fragrances. Guys, I'm passionate about fragrances. And one thing I love about fragrances is how you can smell them and they can put you in the zone. They are directly linked to the memory part, basically the emotional part of the brain. And this is something unique to all the senses that smell has. And over at Mission Fragrances, we've developed a system where you can condition yourself to feel a certain way when you put on certain fragrances. Our fragrances, Honor, Courage, and Commitment, are specifically formulated to help you get into the zone, to become a more honorable, more courageous, a more committed man. You want to lose 30 pounds and you want to be committed to going to the gym. You can use scent to basically help remind you and to give you the strength to emotionally put you in that place so that this is something I need to do, and I'm really proud of what we've created here, guys. If you want to learn more, down in the description of today's video, you can go check out Mission Fragrances. I go into the science. I go into how we condition, how these were formulated over on that website. So if you're curious, go check it out, guys. The project over at Mission Fragrances, this is a passion project of mine and something I'm really proud of, and yeah, go check it out. Now, this next one is incredibly simple. Simply roll your shoulders back and sit up straight. When you sit up straight, when you stand straight, when you roll those shoulders back, you push the chest out. Not only does your voice sound better, but you just feel more confident. You feel like, okay, I belong. Others are going to pick up on this. I know this is something in the military that people all the time notice that, you're told to stand at attention. You stand very erect in general in the military. And those habits, whenever people see someone in the military, they're like, wow, are they taller? They just seem more confident. This is something as a human being, we notice the stance, we notice the positioning of others, and it is something that it reflects in what they're saying. So if you want to come off as more confident, look more confident. And of course, this is a style channel, so let's talk about dressing the part, actually looking confident. Because here's the thing, if you look the part of a success, people are going to think you're a success. So before you even open your mouth, people are making a judgment on you. In fact, there was this great study about musicians walking out and playing the music and the audience judging them. Now, here's the thing, is it was a recording. It was the same music that various audiences listened to. But the only thing that changed was the way the musician was dressed. And based off of that, they perceived the music as either good or bad. It was classical music. And whenever the musician came out dressed formally, dressed well in a suit, people gave him a higher ranking than if he was very casual. Why? Because they associated a good musician would dress the part that they expected. And so when you violate that, it's not that people are bad. It's people are lazy. And they have in their minds an idea of what a confident, well-speaking, what this person looks like. So if you dressed to the part, and again, you don't have to wear a suit, but you do need to dress well. You need to wear clothing that fits you. It fits the situation. It fits the expectation of the audience. Whether you're going on a date with one person, you are giving a presentation to 1,000. You need to think, what's the expectation? Are we going to a really nice restaurant where it is expected that people are wearing a collared shirt, where I could get away and dress up a bit with a sports jacket because we're in New York City? Or is it something, hey, I'm giving a presentation to 1,000 construction workers in the Texas heat, and I'm going to dress a bit down. So wear maybe a collared shirt, but I'm not going to wear a necktie. I'm not going to wear a sports jacket. I'm not going to wear a suit because I want to better relate with these people. At the same time, I am an expert and I do want to engage with them. So you've got to think through what the audience is expecting, but don't forget to leverage your clothing to come off as more confident, to come off as more competent. Now, this next tip to speak confidently is perhaps the hardest one on this list, and that is to practice, to put in the effort to actually take all the information that I've talked about in this video and go out and perhaps make a fool of yourself because you're not going to do it correctly. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to go out with some of your friends and you're going to start the conversation with this beautiful woman, and you are going to trip over your words. You're not going to make the point that you wanted to. It happens. But here's the thing. Going through the suck, embracing the process, you realize, you know what? Yeah, she was beautiful, but she definitely wasn't my type after listening to her speak. So I'm happy I got that rep in. And that's what you want to view this as. View this as like going to the gym, putting in the reps. When you first go to the gym, it feels awkward. It feels like a place. You don't know what all these machines are. You are sore. It just doesn't feel good. But guess what? After you've done this for a couple weeks, it feels foreign not to go. All of a sudden, you start getting a high of engaging with others. You start becoming that guy that volunteers to give the presentation because you actually enjoy it. You find that you are perceived as a leader, not because you give perfect presentations, but because you step up, because you're not afraid to go out there and, yeah, I only spoke, got 95% of it right, but no one focuses in on the mistakes. What they focus in on is that you're the type of person that you aren't afraid to throw yourself out there to get better. And that's what this is all about, gentlemen. You becoming the man you know yourself to be. All right, gentlemen, so what video to watch next? How about behaviors that signal low intelligence? Basically, are you signaling stupid? Find out, gents, in this video right here. You don't want to do these things. So it's a good one. I enjoyed putting it together. Go check it out, guys, right here. Boom, click it. Go check it out.